So we're looking at Jadon Sancho then, a player that has been a revelation really this season in the Bundesliga with Borussia Dortmund, Warren. He's been called up to England, of course, recently, and we're waiting to see how he'll perform over the course of this international break, whether he can force his way into Gareth Southgate's side on a regular basis. He's also been linked with potential moves back to England as well. I think his future is one that's going to be talked about over the next few months as we head towards that summer with Borussia Dortmund at the moment. Manchester City, his former club, linked with his services again. We've got Paris Saint-Germain in the mix, and of course City's rivals United also credited with an interest. Do we see him staying at Dortmund, or do we think that he might move on elsewhere?
I think it's a difficult one, Bobbie, because at the moment he seems very happy at Dortmund, but when big clubs come calling, it doesn't often come around where Manchester United and Manchester City might be interested in the same time. As you say, Paris Saint-Germain, also the possibility of playing with the likes of Mbappe and Neymar. It's a big ask for him to stay at Dortmund and turn down those opportunities. I personally think it would be a good idea for him to stay for at least another season and continue to develop. He's still very young. He's still quite raw, even though he has a massive amount of ability. I just think for him personally, it might be better staying for another season at Dortmund, getting a bit more experience under his belt, and then seeing what the future holds for him from there. I dare say, if things go even half as well as they've done this season, they'll be interested in him in the future as well.
Yeah, well, he was snapped up for just £8 million when he went to Borussia Dortmund. He's now being talked about as potentially the most expensive English player if he moves on. There's a £100 million fee being bandied about. And that comes off the back of his performances at Dortmund. He's got 12 assists this season. That's joint with Lionel Messi as the most of anyone in the top 5 European leagues. He scored 8 times as well, and I think the fact that he's in the England squad as well with players like Raheem Sterling, who has said that he feels that he can learn a lot from, it's only going to take him to that next level and further add to that price tag when the summer comes around.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dortmund will be delighted that he's been involved with the England squad. Sometimes you get the domestic clubs not particularly keen on their players going away on international duty, but I actually think it'll do Jadon Sancho the world of good. I think playing with players like Raheem Sterling, who's been in a similar position before as a teenage sensation and has now gone on to that next stage and really had a big impact at Manchester City. I think that can only help Jadon Sancho. The fact he's been playing in the Champions League as well is a huge factor. Whether Dortmund win the league or not this season, they should be in the Champions League again next season, so he's got to consider that. And I just think all round, the more games he can play and the more experience he can get, he's only going to improve from there.
Yeah, he's definitely one of the bright talents, and I think Gareth Southgate will be looking to work with him over these months, as will Lucien Favre. They've got a young squad at Borussia Dortmund, and no doubt that he's going to be in high demand when that summer transfer window comes around.